Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos, my vast video library, over 1,000 videos now in this library, and it's going to pop one up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, please hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. Also, I just want to apologize. I was supposed to do something yesterday. I was going to do an Is It Worth My Time for Avatar 2. And I fell asleep, honestly. Yeah. And I didn't wake up in time to actually just post anything or anything like that. So apologies on that one. I'm probably going to do it later on this evening. I'll probably do it just before I go on vacation, which that's what's happening this week as well. So there you have it. So get some people that are starting to trickle in now. So, what's going on in the world out there today in the geekdom? Well, you know about James Gunn and Peter Seraphon have taken over the DC portion of Warner Brothers. So they've crowned it DC Studios. There's a new logo that's out there. The logo actually looks pretty nice, nicely done. There was actually kind of funny. It was funny. Dan Slott, who was a writer for Spider-Man, and he's also done DC stuff and whatnot. The DC Studios logo in the very middle, the circle, he actually suggested it should be Plastic Man that is actually doing that because it's a blue and black logo is what it is. It's really kind of neat. Go and take a look at it online. It's out there, and it's got the six. It's got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg. I think is what it is. I can't remember. That are 3 and 3 flanking the DC logo there. And I think it was Derek Robertson who actually added the little Plastic Man head on top of there, which was kind of cool. Which honestly, DC Studios should adapt it. Well, Green Lantern. Thank you, CBM. That was the other one. Green Lantern was the other one. I couldn't remember who the sixth person was. And so it was kind of a nice thing. But yes, James Gunn and Peter Seraphon have taken over, DC Studios here. And one of the first things they did, of course, well, they were talking to Patty Jenkins about Wonder Woman 3. They didn't like the script. They wanted some rewrites on it. So there's a bit of a he said, she said on this. It was said that she walked away from Wonder Woman 3 and decided not to do it. She has later come on to Twitter and other places saying that, whoa, hang on. No, she said basically she wanted some feedback as to what they wanted changed, and then she would change some stuff, but or was open to changing some stuff, but hadn't walked away from the project. So take with that what you will, whether or not she's been, let go from all of this. I don't know. We do know that Henry Cavill is not Henry Cavill. There we go. Is not coming back as Superman. So James Gunn is penning a new Superman movie. They're skewing for a younger Superman at this point, which I'm perfectly fine with. But they left the door open for Henry Cavill to come back in the DCU, DC Studios, however you want to call it. Actually, I think they're calling it DCU now. At some point in time as another character, which is great. I mean, they haven't burned their bridges with him, and he's not going back to The Witcher either. So that's the other thing is, yeah, I feel sorry for Henry Cavill as well, but at the same time, his Superman carries too much baggage with it. It carries too much Snyder baggage, and the Snyderverse is dead at this point. I mean, completely and totally dead. That's why you're not getting another Black Adam out of this, which was a shitty movie to begin with. So yes, Dwayne Johnson is upset about it. Because of course now it's on HBO Max right now. It just came on the 16th on Friday. So if you have HBO Max, you can watch Black Adam now, and yeah, it's there. I don't recommend it, but um, also word on the street is that Shazam 2 is going to be the last of this version of Shazam. Um, that's where we're at here. We also have Blue Beetle, which was kind of just dumped out there saying that, hey, it's going to come out, August 18th. Didn't have that much fanfare. It was just kind of dumped on Twitter with a poster of a Blue Beetle and said it's coming out August 18th. Yeah, I have it on my notes down there. So, hey, Silver. Yes, I agree with you. Snyder was the worst thing that happened to DC. That was really, really horrible. And that's what's going on right now is we're sweeping across. I'm fairly sure Aquaman 2 is gone as well. So that's why there's been rumblings of Jason Momoa actually coming on board as Lobo, which would be a much more perfect fit than Aquaman. Especially if you take a look at the DC Studios logo. The Aquaman that's on there, even though it's a silhouette, is the blonde Aquaman. So it doesn't have the long mane or anything like that. Yeah, so I think Aquaman 2 is it for this version. And the Flash, that fucking Flash movie, don't be surprised if it never sees the light of day because I'm fairly sure that's where it's going with it. Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot were supposedly in it as Superman and Wonder Woman respectively. Henry Cavill's Superman has been cut out of it now, as from what I understand. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, I think, is still in it at the moment, and of course, uh, the Michael Keaton Batman was cut out, and Ben Affleck's Batman was put in. So your guess is as good as mine as what's going on with that movie. It's supposed to be coming out fairly soon. What, in March? And there's been no trailer. There's been no talk of it whatsoever, and that movie's supposed to be coming out in March. So yeah. I really don't know what's going on with that thing. They most likely are going to do the same thing like they did with Batgirl, because this is the other thing too. Warner Brothers has recently found out they need to find a way of cutting another 800 million to 1.2 billion dollars on top of what they're already cutting for the $4 billion. So yeah, don't be surprised if the Flash movie never sees the light of day. That would be another tax write-off right there. You could just cut that thing out, and I think that's about 200 million, 250 million, somewhere around there. So, yeah. And honestly, I don't think any of us are really gonna be worse off for it. Yeah, I won't be bothered by it either, Silver. I agree with you. It's one of those things like, yeah, okay, that's great. If it's gone, it's gone. So yeah, they are just, I should say, cleaning house at this point, and they're going to revamp the DCU into something else. And honestly, that's kind of what needed to happen. We needed to have the Snyderverse finally have a stake put in it die, revamp this entire thing, make the tone lighter. DC is not the dark universe. It really is not. It's not the dark and gritty shit. That leave it to Marvel. Marvel actually can handle that, and leave the DC stuff is the brighter, the sunnier stuff. There is dark stuff that happens in DC, but it is supposedly the brighter choice out of all of there. CBM says there's a good chance the Flash is going to be a loss anyway. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It would have been nice to see Keaton as Batman, Silver, but honestly, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. He is not my favorite Batman. So there, I said it. Yeah, I like Michael Keaton. He's great, but he's not my favorite Batman. Um, if I was hard pressed, well, of course, Kevin Conroy is my favorite Batman. Then, if you're going to talk about live action, my favorite Batman is probably Christian Bale. And the only reason why is because when I was at Comic-Con, when they were doing the first Batman Begins panel, and he was actually live via satellite, he said, and this is the most profound thing, he says, "Batman is who Bruce Wayne actually is. Bruce Wayne is the mask." And he said this at Comic-Con on the, while as he was doing his satellite feed, and I was like, finally, a fucking actor who gets it, you know? And that's how he played it. He played it as Batman is who Bruce Wayne really is. Bruce Wayne, the persona, is just the mask that Batman wears. And that is the, yes, I think is the best uh, live action version of the character. Affleck's okay, the for suit wise, but as Bruce Wayne, no, no, he's just too old. Sorry, yeah. Pattinson's all right, except for the emo Bruce Wayne, with the long hair kind of drooping down over his face, and I mean, he literally was pulling a Peter Parker Spider-Man 3 is what he was doing there. And I was like, mm, you know. So there you go. What else? This is kind of interesting. So the Better Call Saul producers or producer is working on developing a TV series based on the old Destroyer books, which came out in like 1971. So the Destroyer, if you don't know what the books are, there was a movie that was made in 1985 called Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. That was actually based off of the Destroyer books. It is a book series that I've read. There's 150 some odd books in the series. I've read, I think, 113 of those books, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there. And this is when I was a kid. When I was a teenager, I kind of burned through those books a lot. They were cheap, and I would finish off like three in a you know every 2 weeks or something like that. So really easy to read, and they were fun books. And I'm actually kind of interested to see what they're going to do with this. I mean, for those of you who don't know what the story is about a Newark cop who is framed for murder of a pimp. Actually, he's sentenced to an electric chair death, which doesn't kill him because he's not supposed to die. He gets recruited by a secret government organization called Cure, who is was put together by Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, before he died, to basically be the wet work, silent wet work group of the government. Yes, I know it sounds all kinds of, but he gets trained in this martial arts that is supposed to be the source of all martial arts. So you can do incredible shit. So that's what it is. It's cheesy. It is very cheesy. But if you saw the movie Remo Williams, you'll know exactly what I mean. Celebro says Keaton is old enough that should have been an excellent for. No, I still say my favorite casting for, or my favorite fan casting for Batman Beyond would be Clint Eastwood as Bruce Wayne, old Bruce Wayne, and his son Scott Eastwood as Terry McGinnis. That would be my fan casting on that. That's if, Clint Eastwood actually would do that, but I doubt he would. Because he probably is an old man yelling at clouds and whatnot. So yeah. Oh man. So I'm kind of scanning through what I've got here. Oh yeah. So the Bad Batch season 2 is going to release, of course, on January 3rd here, or January 4th. January 4th. There we go. And it's going to release the first 2 episodes first. And then of course they're going to do one a week until about mid-season. Then they're going to release another 2 episodes for the mid-season. And it's not going to do a break. They're just going to do a mid-season 2 episodes. Then they're going to do one a week, one a week, one a week. And then they're going to do 2 episodes release for the finale, for the season finale. Why are they doing that? Most likely because those 2 episodes go hand in hand. And also it, I think, will make it so it doesn't overlap a whole bunch with The Mandalorian, which comes out in March 1st. So I believe there's 16 episodes to The Bad Batch, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm actually looking at it right now. I believe there's 16 episodes on all of this. So yeah, January 4th is when it comes out, and actually it's going to conclude on March 29th is where it's going to go. Yeah, so episode 16 episodes is where it's going to happen. So it's going to coincide for about a month with The Mandalorian as well, which comes out on March 1st. So kind of interesting on that respect. Um, if you haven't been watching The Bad Batch, I don't blame you. It's not the greatest, but it's also not the worst either thing that's been out there, Star Wars wise, Andor. And it's I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do for the second season. Hopefully, it won't be as bad as Obi-Wan Kenobi or the Book of Boba Fett. So again, HBO Max has pulled when they pulled Westworld off, they also pulled the Nevers off as well. So from their streaming catalog, and that is the effective cancellation of the Nevers. The Nevers, of course, which is Joss Whedon's creation there. So we only got the first half of the season, and it's supposed to be sold off someplace. Both Westworld and the Nevers are going to be sold off to some other entity, and it's wherever it gets sold off to, that's where you're going to see the second season of season one, which second half of season one, which I would love to see because the Nevers was actually interesting. It was actually pretty good. Sorry, I'm moving around a new microphone cord there, and it's bumping my leg. That's why you're getting a little sound there. What was Andor like? I gave up on it pretty quickly. It's pretty much the same stuff that you've been watching, Silver. The only thing that's good about Andor, I gave up on it after the fourth episode, just reviewing it because it's 12 episodes, and really it should have been focused on more on Mon Mothma, cut down to 6 episodes, and they really didn't need Andor in that at all because Andor is literally, if you took Andor out of this entire equation, um, he's not relevant to it at all. He really is not relevant at all. Um, and you could have made a better series with Mon Mothma and Skarsgård's character. Really is all you needed. Celebro says those who binge Andor love it. Week to week is slow and boring. Yes, week to week is slow and boring, but I think even binging it is boring as well. Unless you're going to fast forward through a whole bunch of stuff because there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't need to be there. I mean, it was a series in need of an editor, like a heavy editor that just needed to go through and go, this doesn't need to be here, this doesn't need to be here, and you would have gotten rid of 6 episodes easily. But I digress on that one. What else is going on? Oh yeah, we had the trailer release for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is coming out on June 2nd, and that looks fucking amazing. Um, there's a lot of Spider-Men, Spider-Women, Spider-People that are going to be in this. If you go and take a look at the video, the on YouTube, if you go take a look at it, the trailer for that, there's one scene where they're chasing Miles, and there's just everyone and their mother, every spider person you've ever seen chasing after him. We don't know why, but yeah, it's looks really good. Of course, it's oh god, fuck, I'm blanking on the name. Miller, not Miller. Um, I'm blanking on there. Lord and Miller. There we go. Lord and Miller, which they're always good. Honestly, after watching Willow, which was brought to us by the same people who did Solo, a Star Wars story, I would have liked to have seen what Lord and Miller's Solo would have been like, quite honestly. Because remember, they were attached to that to begin with. Lord and Miller were originally attached to Solo. They started filming it, and Kathleen Kennedy didn't like it and shit canned them and brought in Ron Howard to finish it with Jonathan Kasdan's shitty script. Yeah. Netflix has canceled Warrior Nun after 2 seasons. If you watch the 2nd season of it, um, the 2nd season was batshit crazy as well, and I can see why Netflix canceled it. It's not getting the viewers that it needs. It's not up there. Sure, it's in the top 10 at the moment, but it's gonna vanish fairly quickly because it just came out. So, I believe I did an Is It Worth My Time for season 1. I think I did, and, I said the same thing. It was batshit crazy, but it, um Jessica Chadwick is in it, who is awesome. I love her, and also she just does great martial arts as well. So, she's a great actress, and she also does great martial arts. So, I mean, that's, I'm hoping she comes back for the, you know, as Colleen Wing whenever they do the, Luke Cage reboot as well. Silverhouse, why in the hell did they do Willow? It was seen to be a failure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Silver. And I'm covering the series at the moment, and I'm still trying to figure out why they did it because there's no likable characters in it. Not even Willow. Willow is not a likable character either, and the dialogue is horrible. And the hard rock covers that are done as emo music now. It's just that's horribly, horribly bad. Yeah, all the way around. It's just horribly bad. But yeah, I don't know why it's doing. And the poor bugger can act. Yeah, Warwick Davis is not the best actor in the world. He's really not even in it all that much, even though it's titled Willow. He's not the main character. So yeah, your guess is as good as mine as to why they're doing this. Um, so Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights, which I thought was canceled, are going to premiere in the CW on March 14th. That's if the CW is still around by March 14th. So March 14th, both Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights are going to premiere on the CW. I think those are the only two properties that are left now, DC properties that are left of the CW, if I'm not mistaken. I think those are, yes, those are the only two that are left. And again, like I said, I thought Gotham Knights had been canceled after I think they just reshot the trailer or the pilot because the pilot was really, really bad. So unless they decide to go with it and they said, screw it, we're not going to have a second season anyway, so why the hell not? I mean, there's always that option too. So here was an interesting trailer. So there's a trailer out there. It's from the writers of A Quiet Place. It's called 65, and it stars Adam Driver as he's basically a space pilot, is what he is. He crash lands on a planet. He's bringing in cryogenically. He's got passengers that are cryogenically in stasis there, and only one survives, a girl, and they have to wait until help is going to arrive. And we find out that they've actually crash landed on Earth 65 million years ago. So they're 65 million BC. So there are dinosaurs there, all this kind of stuff. They were actually aliens that have crash landed on Earth 65 million years ago. It looks interesting. I'll probably watch it on like Amazon or whatever streaming service that it comes out on. I probably won't see it in the theater, but yeah, yeah. Oh, don't worry, CBM. Gotham Knights will be canceled. It doesn't have legs on it, and also it's on the CW. So anything on the CW right now that isn't uh, reality TV is going to be canceled. That's what CW is skewing towards now. That is, I can't remember the name of the company that bought them. Next or Star or some porn sounding name. And they're the ones that are going for reality TV more than scripted stuff, and they got rid of pretty much everything. I think they kept Kung Fu, although that might be numbered, its days might be numbered as well. And yeah, Superman and Lois and of course Gotham Knights. So yeah, your guess is good as mine on that one as to when that gets canceled. But 65, on the other hand, looks pretty good. That's coming March 10th to the theaters. What else do I got here? Also we had the Barbie teaser trailer, which looked really fucking funny, I have to admit. So I told you I went and saw Avatar 2 Alien Water Boogaloo, and they had a Barbie trailer before that, but I also saw it beforehand too on YouTube. And the whole 2001 opening thing was actually fairly inspired. It's very nutty looking. I'm not gonna see it in the theater, obviously. I'll watch this again on a streaming service or something like that, but, kudos to the director and the writers for however they put that shit together. I mean, honestly, it's one of those it 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 could be surprising. So there's the whole Chippendale, not Chippendales, not the dancers, not the male exotic dancers, but Chip and Dale, the 2 chipmunks that did a direct to Disney Plus movie, which is phenomenally good, believe it or not. I did an Is It Worth My Time for that one. It's actually really fucking good and very surprisingly good. You should watch it if you have Disney Plus, by the way, or whatever your analog is to that. That was surprising. I didn't think I was actually ever going to cover that. I just happened to turn it on and I was like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, CBM says the only thing worth watching that night was the Barbie trailer then. Yes, you're exactly right. Um, you're exactly right, sir. Um, but yeah, oh, and by the way, speaking of surprising, I guess if you have HBO Max and you search for Adult Swim Yule Log, there is a hidden movie that was done by Adult Swim that supposedly is batshit insane. It starts off with a Yule log for the first 2 minutes, like, those Yule logs that you see on TV, and then it goes into a horror movie. And supposedly it's a batshit insane horror movie. I haven't seen it as of yet. I am going to go and check it out at some point in time, probably after vacation here. But yeah, supposedly they made that movie without Warner Brothers knowing about it. This is, of course, before Zaslav took over. There's supposedly Adult Swim has a slush fund available to do projects as long as you pitch the project. And the guy who did this pitched the project, got it approved for very little money, and made this movie. And supposedly it's batshit insane and it's supposedly good too. So there you go. Silver says some idiot on YouTube said many wouldn't get what the opening was parroting. For the Ulog trailer? Or you mean the for the Barbie? Uh, honestly, Silver, I would say people of a certain age probably aren't going to get that opening because, yeah, unless they're in film school or something like that. 2001 doesn't have the resonance that it did with our generation. So even though it came out in the 60s, the late 60s, uh it's I can agree with that there are a lot of millennials. I'm not going to say majority. I'm going to say there's a lot excuse me, that are not going to get that. Yes, it's iconic, Silver, but a lot of them don't know why it's iconic. They don't know where it comes from. They don't know the reference point from it. That happens with a lot of things. I work with a lot of younger people, shall we say, in my day job, and I constantly check myself up here as to any kind of pop culture references or anything like that because my pop culture references are different than their pop culture references, and I know that. And I'm up to date on their pop culture references to a good majority of things, so I can, you know, relate on some hand. Yes, it's been parodied so many times, Silver, but no one knows. It's kind of like a game of telephone at that point. No one knows what the people that are getting it down the line don't know what it originates from. Yeah, and again, like I said, there's going to be a lot of kids that just don't know what that's from until their parents tell them what it's from, or their grandparents tell them what it's from. Yes, I said grandparents. Yep, because we're old. Uh, oh, and here's something good. So, The Legend of Vox Machina returns for season 2 on Amazon Prime on January 20th. So fucking looking forward to that. There's a Red Band trailer that is up. I put it up on the Facebook page. You can also go search for it yourself, and it looks fucking good. It looks funny as shit as well. Um, and they're going to be dropping 3 episodes a week, is what they're going to be doing. So 3 episodes a week is how they're going to drop that. And that's going to be a lot of fucking fun. And yes, I'm going to be covering it too. I'll probably do the 3 episodes a week. I'll probably just cover them as one. It might just be easier that way. Because honestly, it's great. Yeah. Yeah, CBM, you have to watch the trailer. The trailer is awesome. There's dragons involved. That's all I'm gonna say. There's dragons involved. But and they're swearing too. Yeah. So it's great. Um yes, Silver. So a lot of these kids, you know, just yeah, they don't bother to look into where these things come from, even though they have ready access at their fingertips with a with phones and such like that. But yeah, that's what happens. What else is going on? Well, I'm actually looking right now as we're talking because, well, I didn't prepare too much this time. Oh, I almost forgot to say. So, when we're talking about Henry Cavill, he is actually working on a Warhammer 40,000 TV show for Amazon. That is what he is kind of segueing into on his career. He is a huge, supposedly Warhammer 40,000 fan. Him and Raul Coley from iZombie. Supposedly they are huge, huge, huge fans of that, and Henry Cavill is attached to that. So we'll see where that goes. Um, I'm interested in seeing where that's at. So, what else do we have here? Um, oh yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's movie has gained Josh Hutcherson and Matthew Lillard. Now, I don't know if Josh is going to be doing a comedy of this, because Josh, by the way, is great at comedy. If you haven't seen Future Man, I highly recommend it. It's on Hulu. Um, a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant show, and Josh is honestly great in that. So, CBM says never ventured into the Warhammer franchise, but could be interesting. I knew of Warhammer when I was, doing my gaming days, my tabletop game days. So I did. Let's see, I got involved in. I think I did D&D like really early on in my teens, briefly. Um, and then later on, of course, I got into the games that was into Vampires the Masquerade, which was a card game before it became, other stuff. There was a Star Wars card game that was out there as well, which I was a lot of fun as well. That segged into Hero Clicks, which it's still around. It's little figures that have stats on them and whatnot, and you move on a board, you roll dice, and all that kind of stuff. And what else was I playing? Oh, and then there was also a card game called Versus, which was also again superhero based as well, which I played with briefly, and now I'm not doing any of that stuff anymore, just because they're expensive, they're time consuming, and they also get canceled very easily. So, but yes, during all that time, Warhammer has been there throughout all of it. Uh, there are Warhammer figures, there are Warhammer. I mean, literally, you have people painting these gigantic figures of mech, so they can use them in whatever campaigns that they're doing. Um, I think I looked into it once and I was like, nope, this isn't for me, and walked away from it. But I can see how people who are into Warhammer are into Warhammer. They are like seriously into Warhammer. So yeah. What else do we have going on here? Uh, Looking at some other stuff here as we speak. Um, yeah, I already talked about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Oh yeah, I know this isn't genre, but fuck it. John Wick Chapter 4. If you haven't seen the trailer for that one yet, it's out. It's a lot of fun. Evil Dead Rise keeps popping up little bits and pieces here. At least I should say Bruce Campbell has been popping up pieces here and there. The latest thing he popped out with this morning was somebody floating over water, which obviously they're not walking on water, or they're walking on a bridge on water, but it's supposed to be deadite that is floating on water. But all we're just seeing is pictures here and there, but we're not getting any trailers as of yet. And it's supposed to be coming out soon too, from what I understand. But it's actually on my schedule, as a matter of fact. Let's go take a look at suspendedfanimation.com and I can tell you. It's in the future stuff section, by the way. If you go and take a look there. Um, Evil Dead Rise is April. That's right, April 21st. So with that being Evil Dead Rise is actually the Evil Dead franchise. It's being done by a different person now at this point. But also, all the boys are still involved in this. So Lee Cronin is the guy who is directing Evil Dead Rise, but all the boys are still producing it. Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and what's his face? I can't remember the third guy now. But yeah, so they are involved in it, and it takes place in the city this time around. So it takes place in a city, Evil Dead Rise. That's why it's called Rise. It's supposed to take place in a high rise. Two sisters. It's live action. It's live action, Silver. Yeah, if you go and take a look at Bruce Campbell's account on Twitter, at Groovy Bruce, I believe his name is on there, you'll see all the stuff that's posted up there. Or you can take a look at Lee Cronin's stuff as well. So Lee Cronin's been pumping out his stuff as well. Let's see. So, I guess the second part of Dune 2 or Dune has wrapped filming. Okay. For those of you who are interested. Quite honestly, uh, I look at it this way. No one's talking about the first part of Dune anymore. I mean, no one talks about that movie. I don't see hide nor hair of that anywhere. People still talk about the Snyderverse, like ad infinitum. I mean, they're just people that want to murder it, but yeah, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I didn't like the first movie, the first section of that movie, so yeah. CBM said I haven't watched the first part because Timothy's face annoys me. Yeah, Dune is boring. Silver, yeah. At one point, the Fremen are kind of laying out in the sand. They're waiting for him to do stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much kind of how I feel this movie is that we're just kind of waiting for stuff to happen. So, yeah. I don't know why, but Disney Plus has ordered a pilot for a TV series based on Escape to Witch Mountain, and it's going to be starring Bryce Dallas Howard, Isabel Gravett, and Levi Miller. Why? For those of you who don't know what Escape to Witch Mountain is, again, this is 1975 that this came out. Um, it's about a brother and sister, Tia and Ben, two teens that develop strange abilities and in turn discover that their sleepy suburb may not be as idyllic as it seems. Dun, dun, dun. And basically, what it is, they're aliens and they need to go back to whatever planet they came from. So that's what it comes down to. Quantum Leap, to no one's surprise, has been renewed for a second season over at NBC. Yeah. Mm, okay. That's great. Um, and here's something interesting. So, Real Steel, which was a 2012 movie, I believe, with Hugh Jackman. Great movie, by the way. Just a fun fucking movie. Uh, Sean Levy, who directed that movie, is looking at making it into a TV series, a 2011 movie. I take that back. So it's a robot boxing movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it's a great movie. It's actually a lot of fun. And I can actually see that being a series of them kind of going out on the road and having to build up to the championship and then get to the championship. And I can see that being a good series for maybe 2, maybe 3 seasons and then canceling it. CBM says, "Kind of a weird franchise to milk. I enjoyed the movie for it, the original, not the Rock version, but, I wouldn't have thought it was something they tried to milk now." Yeah, Escape to Witch Mountain. I don't know why. I really don't, unless maybe it's because, oh, you know why? Probably because the copyright is getting ready to expire, so they need to, it's almost at the 50-year mark. Yeah, that's right. That's why. It's almost at the 50-year mark, so once it hits that, I believe the story goes into public domain or the 30-year mark. I know they redid it with the Rock version, but, so I think the story and the characters they would lose their copyright on that, so that's the reason why they're doing it, so they keep those copyrights. For the written form. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and for anyone who cares, his Dark Materials is ongoing right now on Disney or not Disney on HBO Max. It's the final season, by the way, the third and final season of his Dark Materials. So it's out there for those of you who care. I do not, so I'm really, you know. Oh yeah, and by the way, so Norman Reedus has joined the cast of the John Wick spinoff, Ballerina. And we don't know what role he's gonna be playing, but, yes, he is going to be in Ballerina. Yeah. Is that the one that had Betty Davis in it? I don't think Betty Davis was in that one, Silver. Um, God, I can't remember who was in it now. Um, yeah, it's been too long. I remember seeing the theater, though, when I was a kid. Yeah, that's how old I am. What else do we have here? I'm really looking forward, by the way, to Quantum Mania, the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, the third movie. Supposedly, the director of the movie, and I'm blanking on his name at the moment, said that he was tired of being a palate cleanser for having his movies be a palate cleanser for the MCU, and he wanted a huge budget spectacle movie along the lines of the Avengers for this third movie. And that's why it's going to be as big as it is. Um, and it looks every time I keep seeing the trailer, and I'm glad they're not like pumping out more and more different versions of this trailer. I'm so fucking into it. I want to see this movie. And this comes out on February 17th. So, and I know that that's off the top of my head just because I really, really, really want to see this movie. Ant-Man's one of those movies of mine that's just it's one of my fun Marvel movies. It really is. The second movie, not as great, but the first movie, yes. The first movie is just, it's great as far as I'm concerned. Let's see what else. So Echo has been delayed to December of 2023. For those of you who know what Echo is, that is the Disney Plus Marvel series that is, has the title name Echo. That is where Daredevil is going to pop back in, and as well as Kingpin. So CBM says the trailer is dark and I like listening to it sometimes. Yeah, so the Rocket Man version, the way they kind of draw out that eerie kind of Rocket Man um, version of the song, which is, I mean, is Elton John's version of the song. They just kind of draw it out, kind of eerie. Like it's stuck in my head. Is really what it is. Uh, yeah. Um, what else is there? Um, sorry, I'm actually looking through some stuff. Oh, that's right. We have Saw 10 that's supposed to be coming out. Um, if anyone cares. Uh, there's a legendary manga out there called City Hunter that's coming to Netflix in 2024. And it's basically I believe it's Japanese. Yes, it's Japanese production that's going on. So yeah, there you go. CBM says almost 2 years after she debuted in Hawkeye. Correct. They had some issues. I know. I want to say the actress got injured, if I'm not mistaken, while filming, and then they had to go on a hiatus because of that. And then there was also some rewrites that were done while she was on hiatus. So that's the reason why they've delayed it for so long as they have. I'm just wondering what the how severe her injuries actually were, because I mean she really is a amputee, and she is hearing impaired as well, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. Um, oh man. There's a new animated Winnie the Pooh movie that's coming out called Winnie the Pooh Origins. um, Hopefully he's gonna take on like Alien versus Predator or something like that, just to make it interesting. But whenever I think of origins, I think of Wolverine. There's a famous comic, Wolverine. It's called Origins, and it's how Wolverine came to be and all that stuff. And that's why whenever I hear something named Origins, I think of it as really dark. Oh my god! So Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which is the second movie, um, Variety has reported that the initial $160 million production budget has since ballooned to 205 million thanks to reshoots. 205 million, and again, they phased out Amber Heard. They're actually killing off her character in that. Big spoiler there, but after all that was going on, Mira is going to die in the second movie because you know, shitty people do shitty things and win shitty prizes. Uh, are you talking about what silver for the Winnie the Pooh? Yeah, nothing of value was lost. I agree with you, CBM. This is true. Um, yeah, there's Sean Levy is working on a lot of things right now. So Sean Levy's also working on the Deadpool 3 script, which is going to be a hard R, even though it's with Disney. Sean Levy is also working on a Star Wars project as well. So yeah, he's working on both of those right now, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there. Um, so, oh wow, I already talked about Superman and Lois. Yeah, and oh, okay. So, and I guess in Superman and Lois, they are looking to cast a white male in his late 40s, described as a chilling businessman, both rogue and immoral. Um, and that means, of course, that they are phasing out John Cryer's version of Lex Luthor. Thank God, because I mean, I, I I know a lot of people like John Cryer as Lex Luthor in the Supergirl series. I was not one of those people. I really disliked John Cryer as Lex Luthor. He is probably at my bottom of my list of Lex Luthors. Yeah, actually, he is the bottom of the list of my Lex Luthors. So, um, Oh, and by the way, in case you didn't know, Dune: The Sisterhood is still moving forward at HBO Max. Don't know why. You would think that would have been the first thing that was cut, but nope, it's still moving forward. Um, yeah, there you go. And that's pretty much about it from that one. And again, I'm just kind of trolling sites at the moment to see what else is out there because there's not a lot of stuff that's out there. Unless you guys want to talk about something specific. Oh my god. There is a deadline reports that there's Lee Isaac Chung has been hired to direct the Twister sequel, Twisters, with an S for Universal and Amblin. I wish I could make some of this shit up, but I'm not. That is what I'm just reading. Why we're getting that, I don't know, but sure, why not? Um, oh man, there's some really weird shit that's out there. There really is. Um, and according to Deadline, David Gordon Green's Exorcist reboot has temporarily ceased in light of an unspecified health issue involving actor Leslie Odom Jr. Now, remember, folks, for those of you youngins at home, every time they do an Exorcist story or a reboot or anything like that, or an Exorcist movie, there's always unexplained shit that happens on the set of those movies. Don't know why, it just is. So, yeah, there's always weird shit that happens. Not saying it's cursed, but it's cursed. Um, uh, yeah. So, oh, and the other thing too, I forgot to mention very at the very beginning. So, James Gunn has not. Somebody had said that Bruce Patton or not Bruce Pattinson, Pattinson's Batman is not part or was part of the DCEU or DCU, the bigger scale, bigger version of it, I guess it was. And James Gunn came back and said, no, it's not on Twitter. So yeah, I don't think Pattinson's coming back as Batman, which honestly, I don't care about that. So again, I think he's just wiping the slate clean and just starting over altogether. Celebro says, "I think they are trying to convince people that the Last Jedi was really love." So Rian Johnson, it's Rian, by the way. So Rian, Celebro. That's why I always call him Rian, uh, because Ryan spelled differently. Uh, yeah, I don't want Rian anywhere near Star Wars either. As far as I'm concerned, he's done with that. Kathleen Kennedy really should have been done with Star Wars a while ago too. And they really should just hand over the reins to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. I know there's a big contingent of people that don't like what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are doing, but they are still in the minority of people. The rest of us out there who love what they're doing really do love what they're doing. So, yeah. I like their take on Star Wars a lot better than I like Rian Johnson's take of it. CBM says, I mean, he did not like the idea of groundness in superhero movies, which I kind of agree with. Yeah, there's no reason. So superhero movies are not supposed to be grounded in reality. It's fiction. It is fantasy. It is otherworldly. It's not even supposed to be our world. Excuse me. Richard Donner got this. I mean, when he did Superman, and you know, also when he did Superman 2, if you take a look at the Superman 2 Richard Donner cut, same thing. I mean, it's otherworldly, and that's what started all of this. Quite honestly, our movie, if you really want to get down to it, it wasn't the serials or anything like that. It happened in the 40s and the 50s and all that. It was actually Superman the movie in 77, 78, if you will. And that is it's a fantasy movie. even titled. It's labeled as fantasy. And that is what superhero stuff is fantasy. It's not supposed to be grounded in reality. You're not supposed to be having, excuse me, my throat is like all of a sudden, it's not supposed to be grounded in reality. It's not, it's fiction is what it is. You don't have a guy dressed as a bat swinging from rooftop to rooftop. Doesn't work. One, he'd probably pull his arms out of his socket from the centrifugal force of doing that night after night after night. Not only that, he would be fucking tired after swinging from about 4 or 5 rooftops. You know, there's just no stamina to be doing that. Yeah. So it's fantasy, is what that is. But in a weird way, that grounded in its own logic. Yeah, it's grounded in its own logic. I agree with you, Silver. But it's comic book logic. Comic book logic is not reality. I've had this argument many, many times with people about this, and it's just like, well, that's not how it would happen in real life. And it's like, no, it wouldn't happen in real life because that's the reason why you don't have a fucking billionaire dressing up as Batman or, trying to stop crime or something like that. Because it's just not going to happen in the real world. And honestly, your average billionaire is most likely going to be causing the crime more than actually helping solve the crime or, preventing crime to begin with. I mean, just look at Twitter and who runs it at the moment. Um, for those of you who watch it, Yellow Jackets has been renewed for a third season over at Showtime. I don't watch it. I don't have Showtime, so I don't care. And for those of you who also don't remember, Star Trek Picard, the third season is also its final season. That's going to be coming up. When is that here? February 16th is when that starts. So that's the beginning of the end. What was Snyder's over the top violence fest? Yeah, but even so, if you take a look at his Batman, when he's moving around, he's going after the bad guys in before he's going to brand them or whatever. He's moving around like he's got supernatural powers, and I'm like, what the fuck? I just remember looking at my friend, and my friend looked at me like, what the fuck? We were watching the movie. So yeah. What else do we have here? And I think that's it for that one. I've been looking at different things, so and there really isn't that much out there other than what I just gave you guys. And again, this is all and again, I haven't done one of these in a while. So that's why I had backed up a lot of stories for you guys, I guess, or news for you guys. So some of it was old news, some of it's new news, but for the most of it. So box office wise, Avatar 2 Electric Boogaloo is looking at 130 to 150 million dollar opening. Not that $500 million opening that people were saying it was supposed to be, because there's no one in hell this is going to have a $500 million opening. Just not going to happen. But yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's going to drop off fairly quickly after that. You're going to have the first people that the Avatar fans that are going to come out in droves and want to watch this. Maybe they might do a Titanic as well, where I don't know if you know the whole story behind Titanic. Why it did so well is because teenage girls kept going back over and over and over again to the theater to watch it, and that's why it because of Leonardo DiCaprio, and that's the reason why it made so much money. Yeah. Donald Glover is going to star in and produce A movie based on a Spider-Man character called, a Spider-Man villain, I should say, called Hypno Hustler. Uh, yes, because remember, Sony actually has the rights to about 900 Spider-Man characters, and I'm not kidding you, it's about 900 Spider-Man characters, and Hypno Hustler happens to be one of them. So, someone was actually running down the Sinister Six movie that's supposed to be coming out, and I believe it was supposed to be Hypno Hustler, Venom, Vulture, Morbius, um, fuck, I can't remember who else the 5 and 6 were. They were obscure characters, but, yeah, that is what people have been talking about, yeah. There you go. And I guess, that Hypno Hustler movie is being written by Miles Murphy, who is the son of, Eddie Murphy. Because there's no nepotism in Hollywood whatsoever. Yeah. Um, and there's just some really weird shit out there. And man, just like I said, there's weird shit that's out there. I'm passing over stuff as I'm talking to you. You're not fussed yourself. Yeah, trust me, if I even showed you a portion of what I'm looking at right now, Scream 6, of course, they're making a Scream 6. Um, and yeah. Patty Jenkins, what her so going back to the whole Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman 3 thing, says she said there was nothing I could do to move anything forward, is what she is quoted as saying, which sounds to me like she walked away from it because she was unwilling to do anything. And yeah, so that's what it sounds like to me. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Todd Phillips has started working on, Joker 2, Folie à deux, I believe is how it's pronounced, which sounds really stupid, but sure, why not? First movie was not good. So I know there's people who like it. That's fine. But I was not one of those people. Yeah. Michelle Yao joins Wicked Films as Madame Morrible. Okay. Um, sure. Oh, okay. So she's joined the Wicked film. So Jeff Goldblum is, I guess, is going to be playing the wizard. That in and of itself might actually be interesting. Is seeing Jeff Goldblum as the wizard from the Wizard of Oz. I'm I might see that when it comes out streaming someplace. I'm not going to pay to go and see it, but yeah. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who wondered why I went and saw Avatar 2 out there, so I got a free ticket. Is really what it was. So I'm a D23 member. I'm a D23 Gold member, which is a Disney club member, and they occasionally send stuff out to us, right? And they said, okay, well, here's your free ticket. You can either go see Black Panther 2, which I'd already seen, or you can see Avatar 2, and we'll pay for $15 of your ticket, is what they said. So I was like, you know what? I haven't seen Avatar. I've already seen Black Panther 2. I just didn't want to go and see it again. And I wasn't planning on seeing Avatar 2 in the theaters, but I said, all right, I'll do it. So I paid exactly $3.89 to see Avatar 2, which again, I will be, I think, covering later on this evening, talking about that. So no spoilers as to what I think one way or the other on that one yet. um, oh, I guess The Flash has moved up its release date one week. I take that back. So The Flash is scheduled to come out June 16th of next year. All right, sure. Um, And I guess there is a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife that is moving forward, but yeah. Excuse me. Um, and yeah, there really isn't much out there other than that. So wow. Willow star Warwick Davis took inspiration from Mark Hamill's Star Wars The Last Jedi performance. Now, talk about taking the wrong performance to use as inspiration. That's the wrong performance. Even Mark Hamill didn't like that performance because he was forced to actually do that. Um, yeah. Silver says, I haven't seen Panther 2. How well or badly did they deal with Namor? They did okay with Namor, to tell you the truth, Silver. He is a villain. I mean, there's a lot of people go, "Oh, he's not a villain." And no, he is a villain. He is a proper villain. But at the same time, uh, they did okay by him. It's a different take on, it's an MCU take, and I lived with it. I it's not that I was like, "Okay, I'm resigned to it." No. It was actually it's a decent version. And no surprise, Lance Reddick has joined the John Wick spinoff Ballerina as well, because of course he's been in all the John Wick movies. So sure, of course he will be. Oh my God. Willow creator Jonathan Kasdan talks the series origin and case for more of Amelia Clark's Solo character. So, for those of you who don't know, in Solo, Amelia Clark was in it. She ends up becoming a gang lord um, by the end of the movie, and uh, on par with Darth Maul's, um, Rising Suns or Dark Suns or whatever the fuck he called it. And the people wanted more of that, and I was like, only if you're gonna bring in Darth Maul, that version of Darth Maul, would I wanna see that. Other than that, that was the only thing that was good in Solo, by the way. Star Wars Story was the introduction of Darth Maul being alive in that time frame as a crime lord, and it was only for, like, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, something like that, but there it was, and that was the only thing that was actually interesting. The rest of it was just crap. Bantha poodoo, as we say in the Star Wars universe there. Yeah. And I'm okay with that being done. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Oh, yeah, if you haven't seen it, there's a really fucked up movie called Cocaine Bear that there's a trailer out there for. I think I talked about it last time as well. And I guess Elizabeth Banks is the producer on that one. I think so. Yeah, it's actually she's actually the director of it. And it's based on a true life story about a bear who, I guess there was a plane crash with some cocaine, or the plane was smuggling cocaine. They dropped it out of the plane into the forest. The bear found it or ate the bag of cocaine, something like that, and just goes off on a drug fueled rampage. And that's pretty much what this story is all about. Speaking of Elizabeth Banks, I was watching Netflix yesterday, and I forgot all about the movie. I had seen it. I didn't see it in the theaters. I saw it on HBO Max at the time, but now it's on Netflix, called The Happy Time Murders. So Brian Henson, Jim Henson's son, um, and Happy Time Murders has Melissa McCarthy in it. Before you say, "Oh my God, why did you watch that?" This is actually one of the few movies that she's in that you can watch her in. Uh, it's a world where um, puppets are alive and coexist with humans. And there's a murder mystery that happens, and Elizabeth Banks is in it as well. Um, it is the most foul mouthed, hilarious thing you'll probably watch. Um, and I kind of dig it. I actually watched it again yesterday, and I was kind of surprised it actually holds up fairly well. In reality, it dropped dead. Yeah. It did drop dead, Silver, but, after it went on a drug-fueled rampage. It actually did go through, I believe it destroyed a cabin or something like that, if I remember correctly. And they found it dead in the cabin. Now we're talking about the bear, the drug-fueled bear, by the way. So, um, I do wanna see the menu whenever that comes out. I'm just not wanting to see in the theaters. Although, I do have a free movie pass, another free movie pass, from one of my, subscription, not a subscription really, it's, you have those memberships if you go to a certain theater and whatnot, and you get points and blah, 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 blah. So I have a free ticket, and I'm trying to decide if I wanna see Violent Night or, The Menu. Just spend that ticket on there. It's probably gonna be Violent Night, the David Harbour, Die Hard meets Santa Claus movie. Yeah. Well, that's all I got for you guys news-wise. You guys have anything you wanna talk about? Well, what else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Well, later on tonight, I am going to get to doing that. Is it worth my time? Avatar 2, The Way of Water. I'll do my review of that. I will do a spoiler free version at the beginning, and then I will do a spoiler version right after that. So, probably around 6 p.m. my time, Pacific Standard Time. Tomorrow through Thursday, I'm going to be off. I'm going on vacation. So, um, yeah, I made the executive decision that I'm not going to be posting anything during that time frame. Um, I might do something Thursday night. Probably not though, since I will be getting back in and all that kind of stuff. So probably Friday. Probably Friday will be the first time I do anything, which means I'll be backing up with Willow, Doom Patrol. Those are the two main ones right there. What else is coming out? Anything else? No, nothing else is really coming out on there. So, but yeah, just go ahead and take a look over at the schedule. If you go over to suspendedfanimation.com, you'll see the schedule up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. Everything's there for you. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the rest of the day. Thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithm, so all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see here, please hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, again, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there and see what everything's going on over there. I'm repeating myself. That's why I'm catching myself. It's a rote thing, so I had to stop myself on the script. There we go. I'm done. Thanks, everyone. I will see you again later on this evening, I should say. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find a cocaine-fueled bear dead in your cabin because it ate some cocaine, went on a drug-fueled rampage, and its heart exploded because that's what happens in real life. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again, like I said, later on this evening. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, and get the boosters because it doesn't work without those boosters. Stay safe out there, everyone. Keep wearing those masks because it's still nasty out there. We also have RSV to worry about now, of all things. Thanks, everybody. See you in a little bit, or I should say this evening. Have a good one, everyone. Good night.